What's up, y'all? Welcome to Double Coverage. This is our first ever episode. Co-host right here, Jaden, your host, Logan. Today, we're going to be talking about the free agents. You ready to talk about these free agents?
Let's get into it.
All right, so our first free agent we're going to cover is the edge rusher, Von Miller. He's currently 36. He's currently on Washington.
The linebacker, Von Miller. Come on now.
I guess on ESPN he is labeled as a linebacker. That's crazy. But he did most of his time in Denver. He did a 1-year stunt in LA, 3 years in Buffalo, and another 1-year stunt in Washington. Do we think he's gonna go somewhere?
Currently in year 6.
What are your opinions here?
In year 16? In my opinion is that
he's 36.
He's 36 years old. And in his last season, he only solo tackled 16 with 9 sacks. That's not a lot of pressure. That's not a lot of, work for someone who's been in the league for so long. I don't think that if Washington goes to trade him, they're going to get anything of value back in return. Maybe around 6, 7.
I mean, yeah, but he also was on limited rotation too. So he was rotating in and out.
But
and he did lead he led the team in sacks while being on that rotation.
Yes, but just, the solo tackles he's not producing on, which is the main problem for me, because what team is going to want a linebacker that's not tackling? Yes, when he is, converting in pressure or attacking in pressure, he's getting sacks. But where does it become? It really depends what the team's going to use him for. If it's pressure or if it's going to be, stopping the run or the pass.
Yeah.
And 0 interceptions is ridiculous.
That is no fumbles, no forced fumbles, no anything.
Yeah.
So
obviously he's not making that much He's not making that much if he got put out 31-0 against the Vikings.
My personal opinion, I think maybe he'll get another offer from Washington. Maybe another 2-year, maybe even 1 year, and that might be it. But if Washington doesn't offer it, I don't think he's going to get it.
No, I think if he doesn't get a extension, it won't be for more than a year for him. I think if he doesn't get this extension, he's going to, be forced retirement, basically. Because no one's going to want a 36-year-old, year 16 guy who can't make any plays on the defense, and that, he's making pressure, but it ain't tackles.
You also
it's not fumbles, it's not interceptions.
You also got to think though, it's Von Miller. He's got that Von Miller name, so they might just want him for the name.
But the name's washed. Sorry to say, but the name's washed.
That is something crazy to say.
In his career, he's a great player.
Most
rough.
Definitely. All right, let's move on to one of the other white DBs on the Eagles whose contract is expiring. We got the safety Reed Blankenship. Yeah. He had 7 interceptions.
That's right here, pulled up.
Split in between 2023 and 2024. But with this season, he only had 1 this season. He didn't produce like he has. But the Eagles also didn't really produce.
Yeah. And I would say that could also just be because, why you say they didn't produce. 11 wins, 6 losses is producing in my eyes.
Yeah, but they didn't produce like everybody thought.
You got to remember his 53 solo tackles, his 30 assisted tackles, his forced fumble, and fumble recovery also. It's not all about the interceptions.
That's true. He also had a second least amount of pass deflections, though. So, he wasn't breaking up as many passes as he did the last 2 years.
No, but at 50,
his interception didn't get any yards. Yeah, but that's true. But if you look at that stat from 2023, 2023 had 79.
Yeah, that's also true. There's definitely a drop there, but it's not.
There's a drop off.
Too significant. He also has a lot more assisted tackles than he did in 2022 or 2024. So yeah, he's dropping solo tackles, but maybe they just weren't coming his way as much as they were in 2023 because he's made a name for himself. He's produced more.
How much cap space does the Eagles have?
That's a good question. Are they even going to be able to afford his contract? That's really
Let's see. The Eagles cap space is projected with only $25 million is their projected cap space.
Oh, they got. What was his rookie contract? That's what I want to know.
It's projected around 25 to 32 million.
Ugh, that's rough. I think if he takes a a pay cut, I think he'll re-sign with the Eagles. I don't think he has any intentions on really leaving, so I think he's safe there to get extended. But who knows? He could be good fits anywhere. I know the Steelers would love him.
Really good. Yeah, not just the Steelers, but you got to also think about, say, the Jags, who seem like they're like one piece away from being actually a contending team, fucking surprisingly enough.
Yeah, and
You
it's
got to
not
think
their
about that.
offense that they're missing.
Yeah,
You know who else could use
but
some defensive help is Buffalo.
definitely Buffalo, yeah. And Joey Bosa is another free agent that's could leave Buffalo.
Yeah, so speaking of, let's just go straight into it. Joey Bosa.
All right, let's see it.
Hey, I mean,
I personally think with Joey,
that's another big name too.
he's gonna stay. What
I
do you
mean,
think? You think
five,
personally he's gonna stay,
five,
or
5 forced fumbles, 5 sacks, 17 solo, tackles. I mean, how many pressures does he even have? I mean, he is the like, well, he used to be. I won't say he is now, but he used to be the face of the defense. He leads the league in forced fumbles. Like if the only way he leaves right now is money wise, or he just doesn't fill the bills, or a championship contender. But in my eyes, I think he's staying. He doesn't have a reason to leave. He's getting the perfect amount of, he's leading the league in fucking forced fumbles, 5 sacks, 17 solos, which isn't great. Which, he's lacking in, the solo tackles, but he's making the pressure, like he is the face of the Bills, one of the faces of the Bills defense. So I think if they don't make the attempt to keep him, they're stupid. They don't know what they're doing. His past, like how he has performed and how he is currently still performing. I mean, he's one of the best in pressures. I don't see why they get rid of him, why they can't resign him.
yeah? I feel like they are gonna resign him. I wouldn't put that past Buffalo, because
They
Buffalo,
have to.
they need something, but they need to add to it. You know what I mean?
If they're going to fix their defense, it does not start at the defensive end. That's what I'll say.
That is very true.
Yeah.
So I think final answer right here between both of us, we both agreeing that he's most likely gonna resign.
Yeah, I mean the only way he doesn't is cap space issue. Like I said, with those big names, it comes with the price.
All right, so next person we are going to be doing is going to be Trevon Diggs. He is a former
Here we
Dallas
go.
former Dallas cornerback, and also a former Packers cornerback, technically, because he only played one game
Except
there.
he didn't do shit with the Packers.
No, he did not. But we also got to think,
Well, I think he
Trevon
had
Diggs, he had that 11 interception year back in 2021. But other than that,
Yeah, but that's the past. That's the past. We're in a different time, and he's not producing. And I don't see him going to any team right now.
you don't
Maybe
think
on a
anybody's
practice
going to get.
squad. No, I think he hasn't. Okay, well, I won't say anybody, but I won't say nobody, but
You got to
at
picture it.
8 games,
32 teams.
I think
Somebody needs a corner out there.
who
The
needs him.
Jets.
I would say who needs them? The Jets, Las Vegas. I mean, like there's a there's a couple of teams that I could think that would need his help. Honestly, who I'm thinking.
What's your thoughts?
I think his main teams that he could go to are Chicago, Washington, and even the Pats. Like I think all three of those teams need help. Like, and now I don't I don't think he's like a star anymore. But if they're looking for somebody who can like make an immediate change, then it's going to be Trevon Diggs.
And for cheap, because he's not going to be much coming out of free agency.
He doesn't have the fucking he doesn't have the pool right now to be expensive. Honestly,
Yeah,
the Green Bay Packers might re-sign him. They could have just released him for cap space.
and that's very true. I personally think the Jets could really use him.
No, they're definitely a team, but I just don't think they're the main team interested in him. I definitely am leaning more Chicago Commanders, maybe even the
Chicago's
Packers.
Chicago needs a little bit of help, and they could
They
probably
need a
make a
lot of
push.
help on. They need a lot of help on defense. Their offense is firing. Like their offense is great. Their defense is just. I think that's the main problem that the NFL does not have a lot of defensive players right now that are really like.
No, the NFL is an offensive game at this point.
Yeah, and it's just It sucks to see all these big names falling out of the picture, you know?
We can move on to another big name,
All right, let's hit it.
Bobby Wagner. Here's a veteran right there. He's 35 years old. 162 tackles, 4.5 sacks, and 2 interceptions on
Yeah, I
Washington.
mean, yeah, he's a beast, man.
He's still producing too, even at his
No, he
age.
is. I don't think he's slowing down. I mean, minus the 31-0 loss to the Vikings, which is just embarrassing on their
Yeah, we
defense.
don't gotta talk about that. But
But
162
if
total
if
tackles.
Washington
That
doesn't,
is his fourth highest in his whole career,
man, he's a beast. I mean,
which is
you
crazy
don't
to
get
look
much
at.
better than, yeah, but you don't get much better than Bobby Wagner. Like, he's a beast. Tied
You really
fifth
don't.
in 79 solo tackles, but in my eyes, honestly, I'm seeing a reunion with the Seahawks.
You think so?
That's what I think. I feel like a return to Seattle is a fitting move for the linebacker, especially for him to finish his career would be where he became the legend Bobby Wagner.
Exactly. That's what I have in my notes. Return to Seahawks? Question mark.
Yeah. But at the same time, despite the pressure of Washington for them to build a younger team, they might bring him back just off the fact that he's a legend. His 2025 performance of 162 tackles is elite. Like that puts
It is,
you like that's
and
hard to do, and especially at his age of 36.
he tied his. He's 36. I thought he was 35.
No, he's 36 now. Well, he'll be 36 in 2026 when the new season starts.
Mm. Yeah. So honestly, I wouldn't hate it to see him on the Seahawks again, though.
I
That Se-
honestly, yeah, me too.
Because Seahawks defense is always already scary.
You know, Another option for him is the Rams. That's like it could be his second championship if the Rams could just lock in. And
He had a 1 year stunt in the on LA in
yeah,
2022.
I mean, all three of these teams are possible. Where regardless his leadership, and him being a veteran and his high impact in the actual game is insane. Like it's astronomical. Like he's a beast. To me, honestly, Bobby Wagner is Hall of Fame worthy. And I can't wait to see him in a couple years. I think any
I
team is stupid not to take him back, but I think he's going back to Seattle.
I would love to see him in Seattle.
Yeah, me
Final
too. I'm not
answer.
gonna lie, that'd be fire.
All
Hell
right,
yeah.
next person we talking about here, big old Rico Dowdle.
You know,
Cause
honestly, I like Rico Dowdle. I really
dude,
do. As a running back,
2 seasons in a row he's hit 1,000 yards. Stay in Carolina and continue
no,
splitting the back.
I don't think he can. I don't think his career can afford it.
Yeah,
I only really
because
see him here at two teams right now, and it's gonna sound crazy because I'm a Steelers fan, but I got him at the Steelers or the Dallas Cowboys.
I agree with the Steelers. I feel like he might go back to his coach Mike McCarthy, who just became the Steelers head coach,
Yeah, yeah.
and he'll
So
own that backfield.
yeah, he definitely will. The Steelers are lacking in that department. As much as it pains me to say, they're lacking in the run game. Um, but like the other one I really want to look at is if the Dallas Cowboys don't re-sign Javonte Williams, then who do they have?
Nobody. That's
And
another
they can
person I
buy,
want to.
and they can, yeah, we'll get there. But if they don't re-sign, then Rico Dowdle is a strong candidate. Like two back-to-back 1,000 plus yards. And honestly, he's young.
He is
He's
young,
he's gonna
yeah.
he's good to take a beating. Like he's got a
I feel
couple
like
more years in him.
I feel like he's definitely just now reaching his peak football.
100%. And yeah, I think a reunion back at Dallas is in his future.
You think
Or the
only
Steelers.
1 year in the Panthers? You think he's
I don't
gone?
with Chuba Hubbard and Jonathan Brooks. I don't
I
see a
feel like
point if he wants to,
like he wants
if
to own a backfield. I feel like
yeah,
that's what he wants.
if he wants to continue his career and improve his level, then staying with the Panthers is just not it.
I agree. You want to know who else I want to talk about though?
All right, hit me.
He's a wide receiver,
Uh
plays for the Giants.
oh,
It's Wan'Dale Robinson.
Mr. Wan'Dale. I actually picked him up on my fantasy. for a little
I know
bit.
you
I,
did.
I I picked him up and then he went off. Like, you know how annoying that is?
So, Mr. Wan'Dale here, in his last 2 seasons, he's had 280 targets in total. But the problem with that,
Yeah,
only
man. He's a
problem, is he only caught 42% of them.
he's a target merchant.
Exactly. He's like what Chris Olave was, but Chris Olave was catching all his targets.
Yeah, Chris Olave. Oh man, that man's a beast. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about though. But
Talking about good old
at
Wan'Dale.
the same time, yeah, at the same time, he was tied for 14th in yards last season, and his average of 11 yards is pretty good. But I really want to get into his receptions. With that many targets, which again is an insane number, an insane number not to produce as many results. But brought in 92 catches, and that brings him at ninth for the season.
With all those targets, that's crazy. He gets the
I
workload.
I feel like he could have produced so much more.
He produced 1,000 yard season.
But he just doesn't. But he doesn't produce touchdowns. Like he's a bulk. He's a bulk of getting down the field, but he's a liability in the end zone. That's what I'll say.
That is true.
Um,
But you also
I
got to
do.
think, with the Giants, they have Malik Neighbors coming back from that ACL tear.
True. But at the same time, he has a real strong chemistry with Jackson Dart.
True.
It's
That is very true.
But to me,
But you
I
gotta
see.
picture.
Hmm.
I think in a year or two, fucking, what's his name? I just said his name and forgot it. Malik Neighbors is gonna
There you go.
expire of his rookie contract. He's gonna be
Yeah.
needing to get re-signed. He's gonna want
Yeah.
a lot of money. So are they
But
willing to give this guy the money he's gonna want?
it really just depends because Neighbors I feel like is a midfield to deep field threat, and in my eyes, Wan'Dale Robinson is only a downfield threat. Like
Yeah, he's more
I
of a
feel
deep
like I
ball
feel
guy.
like you I feel like you go for the midfield, especially on a team that is I won't say struggling, but struggling to produce as many yards.
Yeah,
I feel
I'll
like
tell you,
I
team
don't feel like they're
could
gonna
go,
waste that money. Hmm.
could go to this team right here.
He could, but I feel like he is more likely to go to the Jets or the Falcons.
I could see him on the Falcons. He would match right
Yeah, me too.
with Drake London.
Yeah, that as a reliable wide receiver too to Drake London. Drake London's a amazing player. But they don't really have much depth there.
Since we're hopping on the Drake London train real quick, they're gonna lose even more contestant to help Drake London get open, possibly
Yeah.
because Kyle Pitts is a free agent.
Oh shit. Damn. Well, we'll
Kyle,
get there. We'll get there after this one. But I think he's a strong pair with Garrett Wilson. On the Jets. Also, I feel like they could really do some damage together on a team that is struggling to produce offensively.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see Falcons or Jets. That'd be a good matchup.
Yeah.
But I feel like the Jets need to be more worried about quarterback.
Defense. They need to be more worried about everything right now. Yeah. Oh man.
In my eyes, either he's gonna take a pay cut and he's gonna stay with the Giants, or he's not gonna take as much as he wanted, just slightly less. Or I could see him on the Falcons, honestly.
I honestly hope he goes to the Falcons. I don't see his career progressing at the Giants. I feel like he's going to be at a standstill. And right now he's questionable, by the way.
It's the off
So
season.
no, I know, but he could have got hurt during like practice or something. I wonder what happened.
Very true, yeah. Let's move on to Mr. Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts
I want to talk
Senior.
about him. His 5 years that he's been at Atlanta.
He's honestly one of the best tight ends.
Whoa, whoa. I don't know about that one.
I said one of them.
Okay, all right.
I didn't say the
Oh,
best. I said one of them.
mention this one stat that shocked me when I read about it for Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
And every year he's been in the league, he's gone up one touchdown. So he had one, and then
Man.
two, and then three, and then four, and then five.
Yeah, man. He's a goat.
I mean,
He,
he's just
he he was pretty close to breaking 1,000 too.
he was especially towards the end of the season. Like he started clicking.
Yeah.
He
I
hasn't
mean,
seen 1,000 yard since his rookie year though.
no,
You
but
gotta
I
keep that.
think he'll get there next year. I mean, just in his game against Tampa Bay, he brought in 12 receptions, 12 or 11 receptions, 12 targets for 166 yards and 3 touchdowns. What tight end do you know other than maybe, Mr. BB, the big Las Vegas man, is pulling
Bowers.
in those numbers?
Yeah, not a lot, honestly. Not a lot. That was a crazy
Yeah,
game. I watched that game actually.
it was. It was. Um, I personally hope he resigns or gets franchise tagged, you know? Um,
Franchise tag
but
possibility.
but
Actually, no. I think
but
they used their franchise
I
tag.
could I don't know, not yet. I don't think so.
No,
But honestly, I see him at the Pats or the Eagles.
the Eagles.
Yeah,
Ooh,
he's a hometown option, He's a high upside replacement for Dallas Goedert, And
yeah.
Jalen Hurts is a tight end merchant, so I mean,
He does eat on the short routes unless he's throwing to
yeah,
AJ Brown. Oh.
yeah, exactly. But and at the Pats too, he's a top suitor for May Drake, who because
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts Sr. is an elite pass catching threat. Like I mean, he is a beast among boys. Like
I'll give him that. Yeah.
yeah, I could honestly see him at Kansas City, even too.
Kansas City might be losing track.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's better than Travis Kelce or he'd be starting over Travis Kelce, but with him potentially retiring in a season or two, then why not get that backup that can produce and has produced with results every time?
I agree with that. I wouldn't hate to see him on the Pats, honestly.
No, I wouldn't either. I mean, I would because I like him on the Falcons, but for his career, on the Pats, I mean that's an amazing decision for himself.
I agree. I think the Pats would be good, but honestly, I think he's probably going to re-sign to the Falcons.
Me too. Especially that Drake London, Bijan Robinson. I mean, the offensive core is so strong there. I don't see a reason he leaves.
I don't know. I don't know why you would want to leave that. That's a
I
great
wouldn't.
team, bunch of young players. I wouldn't want to leave that.
Especially a bunch of young players who are producing at the level at which they are producing. And he's only 25. He's got plenty of time in the league. So I don't think he's going anywhere.
Next, I want to talk about two players who could possibly retire this season.
Uh-oh.
We're gonna start with your quarterback there, Mr.
Oh
Aaron
man.
Rodgers.
Aaron.
Aaron,
And I
quarterback of Steelers.
honestly, he kind of let me down. But, I understand at his old age, it's hard to produce like how he used to, Mr. Hail Mary King. Um,
Yeah,
even at his age though, producing 3,322 all-purpose yards and getting 15th in the league at 42 years old is insane. And he 13th for 24 touchdowns I mean, that's elite. Even for the season they did end up having, which was pretty mid, all things considering, that's
yeah,
elite. And
that's
I
the
think it's
Steelers for
good.
you.
I feel like it's a good way for him to go out. Like he produced on a winning season. It wasn't what we wanted, but I mean, he's one of the greats.
Hear me out though. I think one reason he might not retire is so he can pass Peyton Manning for his all-time yards.
That's a possibility. It just depends how petty he is, though. I don't see it. I don't see it because the QB room there it's not great, but I mean they got Will Howard, and Will Howard's going to be a star once he gets a little bit more, under a better leadership wing. I think the only way Aaron Rodgers stays is to mentor Will Howard just a little bit more.
Do you think he's got one more season in him, or you think that's all she wrote?
I think it's all she wrote. I think the Steelers are going to bring in a new quarterback, a new veteran quarterback, and for Will Howard, it doesn't look like Aaron Rodgers' heart is still in it. Like he has the fire when he's winning, but when he's losing, it's just it's like he throws a tantrum, and I really hate to say it, and I really hate to see it, but it is what it is.
I agree. All right, we're gonna move on to big old Mike Evans, who failed to
Ooh,
get his 1,000 yards
yeah. Oh man,
first
I
year,
honestly had high hopes.
first year ever not getting 1,000 yards.
Yeah,
Do you
honestly, I
think he's
mean,
gonna come back and try to get one more 1,000 yard season before he quits?
I mean, I know he battled injuries, but he had 368 yards.
I mean, yes,
He
but he
isn't,
only played 8 games.
yeah, but at the same time, with what he has been given, he's not producing. I mean, look at the Detroit game. 4 targets, 0 receptions. Atlanta, 12 targets, 6 receptions. And he had a great game there. I won't, don't get me wrong, but he's not producing at the level at which he was, and it's really, especially with, Amika, Chris Godwin, I don't see room for him in the new Tampa Bay Buccaneers anymore.
I think he possibly goes one last ride, and
You
that's
think
it.
so? I mean, he could. He definitely could. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see him, run it back, but it just, to
I
me,
would
it
love,
doesn't
I
make
would love one
sense.
1,000 yard season out of him. That's something I would love to see him retire with.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, but he just isn't producing at the level everyone expects him to, and I feel like, that weighs on a person too, especially someone in his position, who's been battling as many career-ending injuries. Like anybody else, those are career-ending injuries. Like,
Yeah,
I
don't get
don't
me
see
wrong,
it.
they definitely are. I thought he was over after he got injured, but he decided to come back and play more. So that's
Yeah.
what makes me think he still has that love for the game.
I mean, love only carries you so far when your body's failing you. I don't see it. Maybe half a season he gets hurt again and medically retires, but I don't see him playing a full season.
All right. Let's bounce over to the people we've named a lot for some reason. I don't know why we've been on this team. Well, let's bounce over to the Jets and their running back, Breece Hall. Their
Uh-oh.
last star that they didn't trade away.
Honestly, I'm not that big of a fan of Breece Hall. Like,
I mean, picture it though. On this shitty Jets team, he still managed to break 1,000 yards.
yeah, no, I mean, it's hard not to break 1,000 yards when you're the only decent person running the fucking ball. I mean, they went what, two for, what'd they go for? Yeah, three for 14.
They
I mean,
won
he's
three
the
games.
only person producing. They have nobody else really. I mean, the people on the team, you don't fucking know them. They're nobodies. I mean, the only notable name you have on there is Breece Hall, and that was, I mean, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to be on that team, quite honestly.
Very true. And the only games he really popped off on were Pittsburgh week 1, Dallas.
Of course, because
He
fuck,
had
fuck Pittsburgh.
113. And Dallas's defense is dog water.
Yeah.
Cincinnati. Again, Cincinnati doesn't have a good defense. And then New
I mean,
England last season of the game. Or last season of the year. Or fuck, last game of the season. There we go.
I don't think in my eyes he could be franchise tagged, and that would suck for him. But if he isn't franchise tagged and he has the option to leave, I think he's a good slot for the Broncos, the Texans.
I could see him on the Broncos. Broncos need a running
Yeah.
back. I
For
mean, they
yeah,
have
to
young
replace,
RJ Harvey,
yeah,
but
but they need to
other than
replace
that,
that level of J.K. Dobbins, like he has Brees Hall has the ability to run downhill and catch passes and block. He just is on a shitty team.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think I I think I think his best option is the Broncos. I don't I think second best is maybe the Texans, He has they use a three down back, you know, and they're missing one, so and they have the cap space.
They
I just
definitely
I
do.
think
Yes.
I think his best options are the Broncos and Texans. I don't think he stays on the Jets unless he gets franchise tagged.
We're gonna run through the last running back I got on my list after this.
Go ahead, hit me.
Kenneth Walker just won the
Ooh,
Super Bowl. Just won Super Bowl
ooh,
MVP.
yeah, man.
He's
Kenneth
got
Walker's a
that.
beast.
He's got that money ring to his name now. So
But I don't think he's the type of player to let that get to him. I feel like he's a ball first player. I don't think he's all about the money.
yeah, you also
But
got to think he's only 25 too.
yeah, but I would like if he leaves Seattle, which I'm not saying he will or won't. I don't know. I'm not him.
Yeah,
But I would love to see him on the Panthers. Um, like I said, an explosive capability complementing Chuba Hubbard. Like, I mean,
Because
Can't do anything with that.
if I was him, all that would be in my head is Zach Charbonnet got injured. Zach Charbonnet's been stealing all of my play or all my
Yeah,
runs.
yeah.
But once he got injured, you see what
I
happened.
mean, he
Look
had
at the
the
Super Bowl.
he was given the option to go crazy, and that's what he did. I mean, he's a beast. And now he can add Super Bowl champion. I mean, that's a
And Super Bowl
and
MVP.
what a performance he had too. Yeah, that too. But I mean, he had an amazing
It was
performance. I mean, 27 carries for 135 yards.
135 yards.
He went
No
crazy.
touchdowns, but he didn't need him.
Honestly, at that point, you don't need him. Let the other guys, put in the little work while you're carrying the fucking team down the field. And just a reminder too,
So
he's
final
also only
word on
25. Like you said. I mean, he has so much. You said on who?
Kenneth Walker.
Oh,
Final
on Kenneth
word
Walker?
on him. What do you
Yeah.
think?
I think he resigns with Seattle. But if, he does leave, I see him at the Panthers, the Broncos, or the Commanders. Maybe even the Cardinals.
I see him resigning, but I also see in his eyes he wants to be the lead back. He wants that role
Yeah, for
of give
sure.
me the ball. Let's
Yeah,
go
for sure.
to a backup quarterback
Uh-oh.
who performed better than the starter quarterback when he got put in. We're gonna go with Malik Willis on the Packers. And Malik Willis
You know,
has 6 career starts, but in those 6 career starts, he's had 6 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a 79% completion rating.
honestly, I didn't know too much about Malik Willis. I knew he performed, of course. I know he
Mm-hmm.
played good. I haven't seen enough I haven't seen enough, and there's not enough stats to back any decision for me to push him forward to a starting position. Um,
But you got to think
which is
there's
okay.
teams that need quarterbacks.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was about to get to. So in my eyes, honestly, I would like him on the Dolphins or maybe even the
I'm
Steelers.
about to say, look at the Dolphins.
They're moving away from Tua. They're going to. Let's be honest. I mean, it's not
Sad to
confirmed, but they're
say,
going
yes.
to. I see him as a front runner for the Dolphins, the Falcons even, as a backup. But I also see him on the Steelers as an option, because he's a dual threat. I mean, he is a dual threat. Maybe even the
I
Cardinals if they move on from Kyler Murray. But
I personally think he's gonna be on Miami by the start of the season.
I would love to see him on Miami for sure. I mean, that's his top. That's one of his top destinations.
And Miami has a decent offense. 2 good
Oh
receivers,
yeah.
Tyreek and Waddle. Devon
As long
Achane
as
in the
they as
backfield.
long as they stay healthy. I could see
Yeah.
him. I could see him being one of the leading passers for next season if he goes to the Dolphins.
All right, one more quarterback I want to hit on. Mr. Daniel Jones, Indiana
Ah,
Jones. He is a free agent. Saw what he did whenever he played before he got injured.
oh yeah.
Led the Colts 7-2. Everybody was hyping up the Colts. They were looking real good. 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 3,000 yards.
Yeah, he's a beast, man. Don't get me wrong. Indiana Jones, man. He's a. I honestly thought, when I was watching him, back a little bit ago, I honestly thought, seeing him at Duke, I thought he was gonna be like a lot better than what he has been in the league.
Yeah,
And I'm not saying he's bad or nothing,
but
but three
in the
interceptions against Pittsburgh,
in the
which
what
is
one,
just
he did have interception games. Yeah, Pittsburgh he had 3. The Rams he had 2, and those were the 2 games that they lost.
yeah,
But you also got to look at the
you know,
touchdowns. I mean, he
I
had three
think
games in a row where he had 2 tutties. One game he had 3. He backs it up.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I think the most logical thing to do is for the Colts to retain him. Um, but he always could end up also, the teams that need the quarterbacks are the Colts, the Dolphins, the Steelers, and the Cardinals. I mean, he could end up anywhere, in any of these teams, but I think he's gonna stay with the Colts. I don't see him leaving.
What do you think the Colts are going to do with Anthony Richardson?
Anthony Richardson Sr.
Yeah.
I mean,
They gave him a
Again,
chance, and then
he had two passing yards basically, or two passing attempts, 9 yards. I mean, there's not enough for me to say anything. I don't see him
look
ever really progressing too far into
here.
his career.
Look at
Yeah,
the
I
last
know
year.
last year, I know he had I know last year. I know he had the 126 completions, whatever. 1,800 yards. I just
Yeah.
I just don't see him as a viable starter. 8 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. He's like, Las Vegas is, starter quarterback for the start of the year. He's just, yeah, he's
You
not
comparing him to
he's not a
Gino?
yeah, I am. He's not he's not what they need him to be, or what they thought he was going to
Yeah,
be when they drafted him pick 4 of round.
most definitely not. I do think that Daniel Jones is most likely going to re-sign and be the face of
Yeah,
the Colts.
me too. I think Anthony Richardson Sr. is the Geno Smith of the Colts.
Let's stick with the Colts and another big piece that they have, Alec Pierce, their receiver.
Alec Pierce, yeah, yep,
Absolute,
the big man.
absolute deep threat. His average this season per catch was 21.3 yards.
Oh man, he's a beast.
And last season it was 22.3 yards. So he is a deep threat bomb.
Yeah, I mean that's just where he thrives. He
Yes. He hit 1,000 yards this season. He had his most catches of the season, most catches of his career, most targets of his career, second most touchdowns of his career. He had a great season.
Yeah, and I could definitely see him. I could definitely see him going to the Bills. I mean, that would give Josh Allen an elite deep threat, which is what he needs.
I
I
would
could
love
even
to
see
see.
him at the Raiders.
Yeah, I was about to say, or the Raiders. Raiders love the deep threat wide receivers.
Yeah, I just wish they had a deep threat quarterback.
Hey, they're getting Freddie Mendoza in the draft, round 1. All
Hey
right.
man, yeah, maybe we'll see. Another strong option for him is the Titans. With the new offensive coordinator, Brian DeBoll. He loves the vertical passing offense. And that would
Yeah,
that
pair
would really,
with Cam Ward.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that'd be watching like the Mona Lisa being made. That'd be art.
That would be beautiful. I agree. Those 3 teams definitely are strong suits for them. I don't think he's gonna stay with the Colts. I
I
definitely
don't
think he's
either.
I definitely think he's gonna test free agency.
I don't either, especially with him leading the league in yards per reception, in back to backs.
Yeah.
I don't.
Uh,
Honestly, I could see him at the Raiders.
I would love to see him at the Raiders. I would love to have a
Yeah, I'm
deep
sure you
threat.
would. Of course you would.
Let's talk about Juan Jennings for the 49ers. He's gonna want money. 49ers don't got a lot of room for money.
Yeah. You know, my problem with him is that he's more about the money than he is the game.
I mean, true, but at the same time, he's a touchdown weapon. In the last 2 seasons, he's had 15 touchdowns.
Yeah, of course he's gonna be a fucking, a touchdown machine. I mean, he's good. I'm not saying he's not good. I just, I don't like him. I mean, he had 9 touchdowns and 643 yards. He's a good receiver, especially with only that,
He's
amount of.
definitely a red zone threat.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's great. I personally don't like him. I think he's too emotional.
You think he's gonna stay with the 49ers? You think he'll take that tax cut?
No,
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 no, you don't.
no. He's too all about his money, man. And with him being, a top target in free agency, being an unrestricted free agent, he's probably gone.
What do you think? Suitable places for him to go?
I mean, what do you think? I've been going first every time.
I think the Bills need receivers.
Yeah, for
Bills are
sure.
going to be looking at receivers in free agency. That's a name they're going to see. They're going to see
Yeah, for
those
sure.
stats of touchdowns. They're going to want somebody to throw the ball to. So
Yeah,
I think the Bills are a strong suit for him. Definitely need a receiver and definitely can afford it.
So going off that, I could see him at the Dolphins. He has connections with their offensive coordinator. Bobby Slowick. He
Hmm.
previously coached at San Fran, and he is again, a deep threat. That offensive coordinator. He loves his routes. So that, and then the Titans. Exact same thing. They need receiver depth,
Yeah.
and they got a lot of cap space. Like they are raking in dough over there. So that would be his ideal fit. I think is Tennessee Titans, honestly. But I could see him at the
So you,
Dolphins too.
so we both agree he's testing the free agency waters.
He is. There's no way he's not. I mean, they're not going to give him the money he wants, and he's too much of a crybaby, bitch to actually just play the game.
Yeah. So we got three more players I want to cover here. Two of them are old, and one of them's a big name. So let's go over the big name. We got
All
George
right, let's go,
Pickens, wide receiver,
Woo!
Cowboys,
Mr. Crash
93
Out,
catches, 1,430 yards on the season, 9 touchdowns.
Mr. Crash Out.
He is projected to be paid like CeeDee Lamb. And Mr.
Honestly,
Crash Out's going to want to be paid.
honestly, I can't blame him. He's producing on the same level of CD Lamb at a much younger age.
Yeah,
But if they don't franchise tag him or do a long-term deal, I really see him at the Bills.
definitely. The Bills could definitely need that of a receiver. That would be great. But
Yeah, I don't.
I do think,
They don't.
as of right now, based off of ESPN, Adam Schefter, he said the Cowboys are expected to place a franchise tag on him.
I mean, that's fine, but they're $66.8 million over their cap constraint.
They're going to have to cut players. They're going to have to
Yeah,
reconstruct
and it's
contracts.
just with his franchise tag being at $28 million, that's gonna put him. It's gonna put him 94-ish million in the hole, and they're gonna have to cut a lot of big name players because they don't have a front office that knows how to run a team.
Yeah,
I don't. I see them using their franchise tag, unfortunately, because I really want to see him on the Bills or the Pats or even the 49ers.
that
Um,
would be crazy.
yeah, it would.
I don't see him going to
But
the Pats. He's not a fit for the Pats.
yeah, but they need a wide receiver one, and tell me he's not a wide receiver one.
I mean, they definitely do need a wide receiver one, but you got to think that player is known for his attitude problems.
Yeah, that's true. But putting him on a young team that even just last season went so far, I think is exactly what he wants. I think he can clean up his attitude for a potential Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree. I
But
do think he's
yeah,
going to be franchise tagged, which sucks for him because
yeah.
he could build. If he has another great season,
I mean,
his free agency is going to go crazy next year.
yeah, 93 receptions and 1,500 yards basically, and 9 touchdowns. I mean, he's a beast, and
Averaging
that's
15,
sharing
like
and that's sharing targets with a name like CeeDee Lamb.
exactly, and he performed, I think, better than CeeDee Lamb, honestly.
Oh,
When
he
you look
did, yeah,
at
yeah. CeeDee
Mr.
Lamb had
Lamb's stat,
75 receptions, 1,077 yards and three touchdowns.
he he was a wide receiver one on a team that already had a wide
Oh,
receiver one.
I just said, yeah. It's just insane. And CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens they're two great wide receivers.
They
But
are.
I
It's
think they
it's a
kind of
killer
got a little
combo,
much
but it's an expensive.
on the same team.
It is a very expensive combo, though, at the same time. So now we're going to move on to Khalil Mack, who's a 34-year-old linebacker for the Chargers. He tends to do 4-year seasons with each team he's played for. 4 years at the Raiders, 4 years at the Bears, and now 4 years at the Chargers. He has 19 solo sacks, 19 solo tackles, 5.5 sacks, and 4 forced fumbles.
Which is tied second in the league, by the way.
That is tied second in the league. So what's your thoughts on him? You think he's going to change up teams? You think he's
I
going to
know.
stay? I think he's going to go to the Raiders. I think he's
So
going to go back to where it
my
all
thing
started.
is that, by next season he'll be a 35-year-old pass rusher, and he is elite. Of course, he's a high value target. But I think the only way he stays at the Chargers is if they retain him on a lower cost deal. And, again, when you have that status attached to you as great or elite, you're not going for a lower cost deal. But I see him going to the Ravens. Maybe the Bears even, a reunion with the Bears. But ranked 29th in pass rush, the Ravens, need that veteran help, and Khalil Mack could definitely provide that for the Ravens. And the Chicago Bears just suck, so
Yeah, Chicago Bears need a lot of help on defense. But the Ravens, that would be a good match, honestly.
it would. But I think the Bears have the cap space to fit them better than the Ravens or even the Chargers, really.
I would love to see him come back and finish his career as a Raider, though. Me personally.
I don't see him. I don't see him going there at all.
You don't think he's gonna try to make a return?
If he's
Retire
gonna make a
there?
return, it's gonna be to the Bears. It's not gonna be to the Raiders.
Do you think he'll ever get his 2023 dominance back of that 17 sack season?
I don't. I think it's gone for him. But, he is still showing that he can be productive, even if he signs a short-term contract, like a 1 year, but after that, he's probably going to retire. I don't see him getting much.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna move to another one. His name is Trey Hendrickson for the Bengals. He argued about his contract at the start of the year, and now we're at this predicament where he's gonna be a free agent. Got any thoughts on him?
How I feel about whiny ass NFL players, so
Yeah.
not particularly a fan. I don't even think he's that good, really. 11 solo tackles, 4 sacks, and 1 forced fumble is just not the stats of someone who deserves more money than what they were offered.
I mean, he only played 7 games. He was playing injured.
No shit, he played 7 games. Yeah, of course he was injured, because he's a piece of work. You know?
But
He was just being a little whiny back bitch. Let's be honest.
But if you look back at the 2023 and 2024 seasons, he had back-to-back 17.5 sack years.
I'm not saying he is not good. I just don't like whiny ass NFL players who are making millions of dollars and expecting more than that. Now I do think he's a good player. Putting my personal prejudice, aside, I do think he's good, and I see him. I don't see him re-signing with the Bengals. I feel like he burned that bridge. But I definitely see him. I could see him on the Bears or the Colts.
Stack up the Colts defense a little bit more.
Well, he already has that connection with the defensive coordinator, Lou. I don't know how to say his last name, but Anarumo, I think. And they need to boost their pass rush. So they're definitely lacking that department. He's familiar with the defensive setup, the scheme, everything. So I could see him at the Colts, and the Bears is, again, the Bears defense sucks, so they'll take all the help they can get, really. And they got the cap.
If the Dallas Cowboys could work cap space out, I think he'd be a good match with Dallas Cowboys.
I could definitely see
Help
the
that
Dallas
defense.
Cowboys, him being there. I just don't see how they work out that high. Again, 66 mil over cap is ridiculous. They're going to have to cut so many positions, and they're going to be filling one hole to make a large gap somewhere else. I think,
That is true.
as much as I hate to say it, I feel like, the Cowboys need to move on from their GM. And, before you start with the roster, you need to start with who runs this shit, and,
Yeah.
you know what I'm going to say.
What you gonna say?
Fire that motherfucker.
I don't think he's staying with the Bengals. I don't think he's gonna rebuild that bridge, but
I don't think there's any way he does or can.
that's all the free agents we have. So we went over, I believe, 18, and I feel like that's good for this first video that we're putting out.
Yeah, so we definitely went over a lot, and it's a lot to digest, and especially with the combine, you got to remember that too. So do you go for these older, higher risk players who have proven themselves? Well, I won't say higher risk, but have proven themselves, but are running out of time, or do you take the risk and go with a younger player, who's straight out of high school or college or whatever, and the only thing you really have is his combine, because you don't have the play time against these seasoned veterans. It's just something you got to take heavily into consideration, and who's not going to do that? The fucking Cowboys.
The hate on the Cowboys is crazy. We're going to dig deeper into the draft day, the combine, all that next episode. We're also going to throw in some way too early predictions, like division winners, records, player awards, all that shit. But I hope you guys enjoyed. This is Barbara signing off.
It's our co-host Jay Nover over here signing off, and we'll see you guys next time.
Deuces.